Okay, so this is the best build I have ever played. It's broken, it has several variations, and it can be created within the level 150 meta, and is awesome for PvE and PvP. I mean, I'm getting healed for hitting enemies, the bosses are melting away, and so are my opponents. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Afflictionist. Okay, let's start with the first variation and look at our loadout. If you could leave a like and subscribe, that would be awesome, thank you. We have, in the main hand, the Anspur Rapier plus 25, it has the Blood Affinity and the Poisonous Mist Ash of War. In the offhand, we have an S-Stock plus 25 with the Cold Affinity and the Glintblade Phalanx Ash of War. But wait! Thanks to patch 109, we can now actually dual-wield Anspur Rapiers, and we can assign the Cold Affinity to one of them without losing the rot buildup. The bug has been fixed. So, try this instead of the Cold S-Stock. It really makes this build 10 times better. So, already we are dealing Rot, Bleed, Poison, and Frost. Incredible! To really break the numbers on this particular variation, we have the Mushroom Crown boosting our attack power when Rot or Poison are inflicted. We have the Black Raptor Feathers to add 10% damage to jump attacks. And then I am just using the Royal Remains gloves and pants for a bit of auto danger healing. In the talisman slots for this variation we have Bloodlord's Exaltation, increasing attack power when bleed is afflicted. We have the Rotten Winged Sword Insignia and Millicent's Prosthesis, greatly boosting our attack power with successive attacks and stacking with each other. And then we have the Kindred Rot's Exaltation, which is increasing attack power when poison or rot are inflicted, and is stacking with the same effects as our Mushroom Crown. In the Flask of Wondrous Physic, we have the Thorny Crack Tear boosting attack power with successive attacks, stacking with the two talismans, and we have the Green Spill Crystal Tear for major stamina boost, helping with poise as well. I mean, this is such a solid loadout, I love it. Now, patch 109 has been announced, and in PvP the Black Raptor's Feathers and the Bloodlord's Exaltation have been nerfed, but don't worry, we will be switching them out later on for PvP and PvE. Next, let's quickly look at the stats for the overall build. I would advise starting with either the Samurai class or the Prisoner class. I started with the Prisoner class, and I have Vigor at 60, Endurance at 42, and Dexterity at 75, and I've left everything else. Now, the reason I'm not putting Dexterity to 80 is because the two variations of this build both use Millicent's Prosthesis, which gives us 5 Dexterity. This means that we can hit 80 Dexterity by applying 75 in points and then using Millicent's Prosthesis. And then you can save up those extra points and put them somewhere else, like in Endurance for stamina and equip load, or you could even spend a few points in Mind for the FP costs. So when it comes to combat, it's pretty simple. We are power stancing with L1 combos and using L1 jump attacks. The L1 jump attack actually gets 3 hits in. Now, the reason I like Glintblade Phalanx is it does very good poise damage, and it can usually get a bit of stagger on the enemies, which helps us get our successive attacks off with a bit of mid-range distance. And as you can see, I am just melting away through enemies, bosses, and PvPers, and this is only one variation of this build. So let's move on to the second one now, which we figured out about halfway through my live stream. Okay, with this variation of the Afflictionist, we are going to massively boost our poise to make this build tanky as hell and help us with trading. So we'll replace the Black Raptor's Feathers with a high poise armor piece, say something like Lionel's Armor. And we'll do the same with the pants to something like, say, the Bullgoat's Greaves. We will replace the Bloodlord's Exaltation with the Godskin Swaddling Cloth. This is going to heal us for successive hits, and we'll replace Rotten Winged Sword Insignia with the Bullgoat's Talisman just to boost our poise. I choose to remove the Rotten Winged Sword Insignia over Millicent's Prosthesis because 1. Millicent's Prosthesis gives us plus 5 Dexterity, and 2. Its effect requires less successive hits to kick in. On the Cold S-Stock, I am switching out the Glintblade Phalanx Ash of War for the Chilling Mist Ash of War. This means we can now have a frost-infused weapon and a poison-infused weapon stabbing away fast at the same time with rot and bleed. Once frostbite procs, you lower the enemy's defense by 20%, which means if you want, you can switch it out to another Anspur Rapier, for example, and double up on your bleed and rot effects when the enemy is then frostbitten and has lower defense. This is so insane. It just melts everything. I have to say, I prefer the first version's look. It's a lot more Fashion Souls, but I just love this second variation all round. You have poise over 100, meaning you get your successive hits in mostly uninterrupted. This means your status effects are going to kick in sooner, and then your attack power is going to boost, and your opponent will likely be bleeding, poisoned, suffering from scarlet rot, frostbitten with lower defense, and all of this is happening at once. And whilst this is happening to your poor opponents, you will be healing yourself for successive hits. It just melts bosses. I am absolutely flying through New Game Plus with this build. Now you might be thinking, but what about enemies immune to status effects? Well, in this case, try switching the weapons around. If an enemy is immune to everything but frost, put the cold S stock in your main hand, as the power stance in combos hit more with the main hand with thrusting weapons. And remember, you are also getting attack boosts for successive hits as well. It's not just about status effects, so you'll always have that in your back pocket. Right, so here are some bosses uninterrupted to show you how awesome this is. Summon anyone? See what happens? Keep an eye on him, innit? And then just turn to the side. Easy, innit? We'll see when I get up there. Probably should have popped the flask when I was down there. Oh, don't do that attack. That's like the most annoying one. That's pretty annoying, actually. Oh my god! Oh my god! This works? Gotta get up in the air, mate, or I'm gonna kill you. So there you have it guys, the Afflictionist, my new favourite build which I will definitely be taking into the DLC. This build was put together and refined on one of my live streams, so come and join us on Wednesdays and Sundays, and come and join me on Discord, Twitch and TikTok, links in the description. In the meantime, let me know what you think about this build in the comments and how would you change it up. All the best guys, see you in the next one. Cheers.